Sure. Okay, so this is just a cute little story that my family still likes to traumatize me with. Um, so um, it was about, I would say about 10 years ago. I was little, I was only about 9. So my mom, she loves her birthday. It's always a week-long event, and there's always multiple days of celebration to commemorate the wonder that is my mother. She is amazing and she knows it. She's a birthday queen. And so one year, something she'd always wanted to do was to rent a houseboat and like go for a whole week and just party it up on the houseboat. So that's what they did. And it was horrendous. It was horrible. So basically, this houseboat was like the houseboat from hell. So my grandma still maintains to this day that she has like a sort of PTSD whenever she gets onto a boat. She's a bit dramatic, bless. But so we set sail and everyone's drinking, not me because I was 9, and everyone was, playing cards and laughing and eating, and we go to sleep. So excited for the week ahead of more of this amazing family time. There's also a spa on the roof of the houseboat, which is crazy. We were living it up. It was so much fun. So my auntie, who decided to be the kind of captain of the ship because she had, I don't know, driven a boat before, she was having trouble lowering the anchor, but she finally did, and everything was fine, and we went to sleep. And then in the middle of the night, we heard this huge crashing sound. And we realized that the anchor wasn't heavy enough for the boat. So it was a massive houseboat. So so many things went wrong with this houseboat. This is just one of them. So the anchor was too light. So we crashed into the side of the river, and we called the guy who owned it, and he basically said that no one else had the issue, like you must be doing it wrong. So in the morning he came and looked at it anyway. He said it's fine, nothing's wrong with it, you're just not doing it right. Gave us some tips and sent us on the way. He also said that if it happened again, if it happened again, we would have to pay for the damages of the boat because it was entirely our fault, which I don't think it was. Yeah, so he was kind of rude, but we sort of tried again anyway. So during the day, like we would stop and put the anchor down, but it ended up flying away again in the current of the river and getting tangled around someone else's anchor. And then the people who owned the other boat started swearing at us and screaming and threatening to sue us. And our boats crashed into each other. And it was horrendous. It was a mess. Anyway, so after we had been screamed at and sworn at and exchanged numbers with the angry boat people, sorry, we decided to just cut the trip short, and we go home, and we would stay the night and then leave. Like, we did not want to be on this boat any longer, because people had to. So we were like, okay, I guess someone has to be driving every single time, like forever. So every 3 hours they would swap, and that was overnight as well. So all the adults, I was fine. I was a kid, so I was just like, I was fine. I was like having the best time. But the adults were really angry. So the next morning, everyone was really silent and really annoyed and drinking coffee. And then the engine started making this horrendous, loud, sputtering sound. And I remember all the adults. So they went to examine it, and they came back inside, and they were like, oh my God, there's a boy in the engine. And I was like, what? Like, my jaw absolutely hit the floor. I ran back into my room because I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to see what was happening. I could only imagine, like, all the blood and everything, and I was just like, how old is this boy? Is he going to be okay? This is the worst trip of my life. And so from inside the room, I could hear my mom like shouting, just being like, this is so frustrating. I can't believe a boy got caught. I just want to go home. hopefully it won't take too long to get it out. This whole trip has been so stressful. It's my birthday. And I would hear all the adults being like, yeah, it's annoying. It's annoying. And I was like only 9, just being like, oh my God. Oh my God. And like, I was in shock. I couldn't believe my family was being so insensitive. Like, it's inconvenient, but it's a boy's life. It was at stake. Had they even called an ambulance? And so I was just like on the verge of tears, and I crept out of my room. I was so horrified by my family's reaction and the situation. And my mom saw me and she said, hey, we should be able to go soon. It's completely wrapped in the engine, but Grandpa is untangling it. And I literally, I started sobbing. I was just sobbing, and I almost threw up. I felt horrendous. And then my mom sort of just looked at me, realized that I didn't know what a bouy was. I didn't even know if that's how you say it. Bouy?
Boy. Well, in America we say bouy, but boy.
Oh, maybe that's why. Anyway, so bouy in the engine. Anyway, so my poor 9-year-old self had no idea what a bouy was. So obviously I thought it was a real boy. My mom really, really had to try not to burst out laughing as I was like sobbing. And she was explaining to me that it was not a little boy that was caught in the engine, but just like a plastic thing with a string attached to it. Is that what a bouy is? I obviously still know nothing about boats because my family refuses to go back on another one. Yeah, so anyway, I felt very stupid. Yeah, and it's still one of the weirdest things because it was a bad trip altogether. Especially because I thought for a few seconds that my grandpa was literally untangling a little boy's intestines from an engine. It was like, it's terrible. I was like so horrified. But I think in retrospect, it's good because it was a terrible trip that cost us so much money because we had to pay for all the damages to the houseboat, all the damages to everyone else's houseboat that we crashed into. But this is, yeah, something that we can really laugh about my pain thinking that, yeah, a little boy was being tangled up in the engine. But yeah, that's my little miscommunication story.